Okay.
Love watching it. It's just a little too strong. Shout out to T1 for that one.
The Aurora going to follow that one up. Okay, so T1 are just removing some of the really powerful champions on the meta. Makes a ton of sense. Orianna, obviously, also very strong in the meta. And the Nocturne, the thing that's kind of, I think, surprised many with how impactful it's been so far at the tournament. The utilization of his ultimate to set up for these other teamfight tools. The Sejuani removed as well. Does leave things up like the Ashe, the Skarner, the Vi. We've only seen Wei on Vi so far in this tournament, and I would be surprised if we didn't see him on it again.
Ahri. Knight's Ahri.
I don't think they would first pick it though, would they?
I mean, probably easier to first pick the Vi, as you suggested. I can't imagine the immediate response would be a blind pick Ahri, but I mean, with Smolder and Yone off the board, as well as Orianna, obviously the mid lane pool, and technically Aurora as well, the mid lane pool is pretty heavily hinged.
I mean, obviously, Knight's Ahri is world-renowned. It's one of his best champions. He has an unbelievable win rate on it. And so, with the confidence, and as you said, with the pool being narrowed down, Knight is saying, this is a champion that I want to play. Makes complete sense for him. So now with the Vi and Gnar being taken away on the side of T1, what's the pairing going to be? Oh, they're pairing up Skarner. A little bit surprising. Typically, you'd expect something like a Jarvan or a Viego, something with a little bit more damage and setup, because if an Ahri charm connects, you want to make sure that you have good follow-up. But it looks like the Silent... Oh, Faker's Silas!
Also, Silas with a Skarner on the other side of it is not something I've seen yet, and I'm really curious to see how impactful that can be. But Silas, a champion who's just really come back to the meta. He's been changed repeatedly. People have talked about him in solo queue for a very long time, but only at this tournament has he really come back to the forefront of professional play. Taking away the RI ult, obviously very solid. The tankiness you get from a Jax ult as well is something to consider. And it's going to really affect BLG's considerations as we go into the second ban phase in terms of what they feel comfortable grabbing. Because let me tell you, Alistar is no longer an option.
It's a really fun skill matchup too, because the charm determines everything, right?
Yeah.
Charm can use to interrupt some of the dashes of the Silas trying to get to you. On top of that, like if the charm is ever gone, Silas just always wins a trade, just because of the additional healing that he'll get on his W. So, super interesting. Right now, I would say that he doesn't have the best ultimates to steal.
Yeah.
And like BLG's like, maybe we don't play Alistar. But we'll see how the rest of the draft pans out, as the Kai'Sa and the Ziggs going to be removed from the bot side of BLG. The Renata going to be taken away from Carrier, and the Ashe to follow.
Will be interesting to see, of course, if we do see an early
Kalista,
swap here.
That's what I was thinking.
With Kalista putting a little bit of pressure on BLG, certainly. Obviously, Kalista highly mobile. A little bit tough for a lot of these champions to lock down, tough for something like a Jax or a Skarner to stick to that pick. They can't burst her out immediately.
Okay. I was wondering, what do they even go here? I thought maybe Ezreal.
Jhin, an interesting choice, of course, to follow up on the Ahri charms. It's easy to land that long-range CC.
This is good. I like the Poppy a lot, especially when you think about the dash from Vi, the Silas mobility, and then just Kalista. Poppy's just great into Kalista in general. I don't know how I feel about the Jhin just because of the dive, but I guess BLG is saying Poppy should provide a lot of peel, enough for the Jhin to be able to play pretty comfortably.
So far in the tournament, LPL teams have an abnormally high priority on Jhin. It seems to be a pick that they're super comfortable with. They are good at leveraging that long range, and of course, when you have a Jax, when you have an Ahri who are willing to dive in, the Jhin follow-up is something very powerful. Carry a please. I would, please. You won't?
Don't get baited by pigs.
No,
you know
I know. I'm saying please. I'm not saying it's real. I'm saying please, sir. One time.
Begging you. Please just lock and pike.
Thank you, Betty. All right, well, this would be a mix-up. This is a classic combo, brainstormed, theory-crafted, scrimmed for years. Hasn't seen the international stage as much, but it is obviously the combination of the Kalista and the Neeko, very, very powerful. Neeko can go in, get right back out. So much setup CC, so much chain CC, and kind of a return to some of what made Carrier so successful in our previous year, which was a lot of these really aggressive counter-pick supports.
What I like about this, the comps, is that there's just a lot of comfort across the board. You've got Bin on Jax. Like, obviously he's known well for his Camille, but his Jax, like, is just as terrifying on the top side. And that's paired along Knight's Ahri, one of his all-time greatest champions, an unbelievable win rate on it. I think this year alone, he's only lost, like, one game.
Career long, I got 58 games, courtesy of our friends at Games of Legends, 86.2% win rate. I'm not going to do the quick math there, but it's very much in favor of the win column.
And in contrast, Zeus, one of his best champions throughout his career, has been his Gnar. And then you contrast that, like, it's hard to say for Faker specifically because he's played for so long.
Yeah.
He has so many champions. But I always think back to that 2019
when
Faker,
he stole the Gnar.
Yeah, and like
destroyed
also
an entire region in a
Jensen
moment.
1v1 matchup he had, like, he's just, yeah, he's a good Silas player, and it's going to be a fun one. These solo lane matchups are going to be exciting. I'm hopeful we'll get standard lanes, but I'm not going to promise anything as we jump in for our best of one matchup between BLG and T1.
Neither team will be eliminated, but obviously both teams hungry for that 2-1 bracket, looking to get out of Swiss as quick as possible. Don't want to risk a single thing. Remember, it was last year T1 beat BLG to make it out, to qualify for top 8 in the bracket stage of Worlds. Zucaria sneaking his way in, pretending to be owner. A bit of mind games here. And the second game that we've seen T1 really go for one of these compositions that's very heavily focused around some of these team fighting ultimates, right? We saw a similar thing when Faker was playing Nico mid in their first matchup. Ultimately didn't quite work out. The Aurora disrupted it, but there's no Aurora this time. Should be able to find a few more effective engages.
We're seeing the Grasp Ari again, by the way. Like, we've just been seeing...
Flash out from Keria. Do they know it's Keria? Otherwise, they might not have tracked the flash. If they do, his lane phase is going to get a little bit tougher against this Poppy.
So the problem with Knight starting E is you do concede a lot of control in the mid lane.
Yeah.
W gives you just a lot of trading power just because it's a short cooldown, easy to last hit, helps you control the wave. E, long cooldown, single target, doesn't offer a lot. Now, we talked about the possibility of a lane swap. It looks like BLG is going to be the ones to initiate it. And T1 naturally ready as the split map has begun.
Makes a lot of sense in the context of T1's bot lane. Obviously, you really do not want to be against Kalista Nico for the first few levels. That's a picture of Faker. You throw that up on your phone, we're putting it up every time. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a theme to how we promote Worlds, and it always involves cut the music, Faker. Doesn't matter what he's doing. He can play piano, he can sit on a throne, he could take your order at a fast food restaurant. We would all love it. It's what keeps us going. And I think it's a big part of the reason why we're always giving T1 the benefit of the doubt here. Of course, in the 2v2 lane swap, though, LCK team's a little bit more experienced, popularized in that league initially as Knight doing a pretty good job, getting a lot of grass procs. Of course, you highlighted it takes away from some of that burst damage, but does offer a bit of sustain, a bit of additional damage, and does give you that permanent health stacking, 4 per proc.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense to me. Well, it doesn't really. It's more.
As an Ari enthusiast, you hate it because you want to do damage.
Yeah. It's understandable in the context of melee matchups, right? Because it's very easy to generate the grass procs. You can just keep hitting your opponent, gives you a bit of extra sustain. That part makes sense. It's just that in the mid game, I feel like you lose a lot of damage.
Kind of like when you can proc electrocute on somebody.
Yeah. Now, this is the part of the lane swap that we all know and love because this is the skill part of the matchup.
Can you pull off the dive? Ben, level 2. Level 3 now is great. Counter-Strike crucial to survive the dive. On here as well, I think the second you see the Poppy, if you don't know what abilities have been taken, you have to assume Steadfast Presence is there, and it really stops any potential of the dive.
Notice how respectful Bin is being as well. But definitely the winner of this situation. Zeus will be able to catch this last part of the wave, but Bin having access to a nice stacked wave on the bot side is going to be more than happy to pick this one up. Overall, though, nothing too crazy happening either side. The initiation of the swap is now concluded, as both laners will now look to return to their respective lanes.
Of course, pretty calm, all things considered. We talked about it in the previous game, but once the initial dives kind of fade away, might see the reset to standard lanes now that the first few levels have been kind of survived, now that both bot lanes have been able to get a little bit more experience. But remember, in the context of this year, BLG have certainly had T1's number. Last year, T1, well, they had all of the LPL locked down, but this year, at MSI, of course, we saw across 2 best of 5s, BLG were able to come out in both of them, knocking T1 down to the losers bracket, meeting them there, beating them again to face Gen.G in the finals. So history right now, at least, favoring BLG as we head into this best of 1.
It was at Worlds last year where they met in the qualification stage. It would have been in the 2-1 bracket, if I remember correctly, where T1 actually got a 2-0 to the surprise of many. And were able to qualify there for the quarterfinals, where they then, in fact, made their miracle run all the way through to the finals. And coming into this one, again, understandable that BLG are expected to be the heavy favorites. They're a team that, ever since Wei has joined the roster in summer, they've become very complete, very well-rounded. Their ability to generate early game leads is off the back of they'll leverage their prio, and then Wei is hovering. And just as I say it, the observers highlight it for us. They're pushing mid, pushing bot, and they're working now together. Wei sets his sights on the bot side of the map, doesn't want to get spotted out by that little phantom. And they're all just kind of coordinating, providing that safety. He can look for a bit of a gank hit, and here it comes.
Wei coming in. On can go in as well and try to interrupt some of the escape tools, but they're just hitting the clone. Keria able to shapeshifter out to safety. Crucial to get away from that gank, but well highlighted, Betty. Good use of the line pressure from BLG to Fish, and you can see, meanwhile, T1 not really able to make a play of their own anywhere else.
So this is exactly what has made BLG so effective in the early games. And sometimes we've seen some of their inconsistencies in the early games at times, one of the things that they were criticized for early on in summer. But Wei has just kind of allowed that, to kind of allow these very talented laners to thrive in the way in which he enables them. And he doesn't tend to showcase a preference. We've seen him play through top lane as well.
Ooh, nice route. On getting chunked out here in the 2v2. You know
Flashing.
T1 are stronger, forcing the flash out from Elk 2. Incredibly clutch from the T1 bottom lane to just instantly leverage their 2v2 advantage.
And this is the thing, we can't talk about individual talent without talking about the T1 members. This bot lane are typically very aggressive, and they find a successful 2 versus 2 to get that summoner spell out from Elk.
And this is why the lane swap probably came out. You want to avoid this 2v2 at all costs. They thought the first 3 levels, if they just got level 3 without needing to fight, it might be a bit easier, and it certainly is, but still very much favoring T1 as they're still grabbing these plates. You've also got pressure on the top side from Zeus as he just continues to push these waves in against Bin. Owner grabbing the grubs in the meantime. Will only be able to grab 2, but T1 across the board getting a lot.
They do have a 1k gold lead now, just off the back of the lanes kind of returning to normal. Early objective advantage in favor of T1, just as you highlighted. Now, BLG set their sights on Faker.
Very nice initial movement. Obviously, Charm does connect. Faker not going to try to extend the trade at all. Uncertain where on is. Good presence of mind, good awareness. If he commits anything there, very likely will have to burn flash to escape. In the end, though, some gold has been picked up, so gold lead leveraging to about 600, really balancing out. Grubs will feel good on the next spawn, though. T1, they can get 2. We'll be able to grab the 4 grub buff with pressure Zeus is putting down right now. Will make it that much easier for him to take some of these early plates.
Keep my eyes on the minimap just to see what potential options Wei once again sets his sights on the bot side of the map. Nice bit of trading there from Knight to put pressure down to Faker, but he's sitting pretty with his farm. I like how Wei consistently plays around the fact that, like, oh, his bot lane has push, he's there to leverage. Maybe they can go for an objective, maybe they can set up for a dive or a kill. He's going to start off the Drake, but I think T1 want to contest this. They're going to be able to clear out this bot wave pretty quickly. Level 6 has come through from Gumayushi.
Owner on the way down. On with a knockback into the wall, but there's no immediate fall. They just now spot Owner. Knight is going to get the first move, however. This could be disastrous. Perfect CC layering. Owner can't even push the ult. He barely manages to get it all in time. Faker has stolen away the ultimate. What else can he get with the dashes? Can he chase down Knight? One more now coming through. Has stolen the ult, now using it. Wants to chase, Wei ready to go over the wall. T1 zoning him off. Faker goes in again anyway. Flash away from the charm. That's perfect. The pop on the Q2 coming through. Faker gets another dash. Should be fine to escape. Bin coming in. He should go down. Knight gets the kill in return.
Faker doesn't quite have the mana or the damage to be able to get another, but it ends up being a 2 for 2. Knight with the quicker collapse, but T1 with their bot lane having more damage to be able to convert the kill. The Dragon stays alive, and as Owner makes his way back out onto the map, he's already pinging the objective.
And great CC, frankly, from the side of BLG to recognize they had the opportunity to kill Owner. Could have been a massive threat in the fight, and certainly could have made Knight vulnerable. They weren't able to spot him out first. Messy back and forth, T1 still ahead in gold. Now T1 first on the objective. They're spotted. BLG, a lot of pressure mid, currently denying some creeps away from Faker, so there is a gold price that T1 are paying to take this objective. Have to respect on the flank, but BLG clearly willing to give it up, and well played to T1, coming ahead in objectives across the board.
While all that was happening, we'll get to that in a second, but notice here, it's Owner that's isolated because Knight gets the rotation first, connects the charm, they have the damage. Owner does what he can to get what damage down he can, but then the fight becomes split as Wei has to flash away to avoid the CC from T1's bot lane. On is just kind of awkward in this position, left isolated as the Jhin ultimate doesn't really offer much, while Faker finds himself in a 2 versus 1, gets that initial pick, gets the reset on the Ahri ult as well, allowing him to create some space, and then here he thinks, oh, maybe I have the damage if I can get the passive off, but the 4th shot from Elk is enough to shut Faker down. a very close affair. And the thing I wanted to highlight before we went into the replay was Bin actually moved from top into mid to push that wave underneath the tower because Zeus had set up a bit of a mini freeze. Then though, as the freeze was unbroken, Zeus was forced to push out that wave top and Bin could catch all of it. So you look at that CS discrepancy that had developed in the top lane, but Bin actually fixed it by being able to get this big wave in mid, move up to top, then catch that wave as well, and ultimately kind of equalizing what was a bit of a deficit at the start.
Important to put him in that beneficial position. Wei gets a little aggressive on the top side. But obviously in that previous fight, just a reminder why our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz is the mid lane. Faker and Knight both in a position to make so many plays for their teams. They're legends in any draft, but in the context of this draft, two huge catalysts to find kills, to set up plays on the map. And right now, BLG using Knight to gain a bit of control around the grubs. However, top wave needs answering. They don't quite know where Zeus is, so they don't feel confident to initially force the objective as T1 showing up in force, ready to fight for this.
Ideally, Zeus wants to catch this bot wave before he's in a position to TP. Bin is already making the rotation up though, so it's BLG that have Purchase on the objective. Bin is collapsing very quickly. I'm expecting a big fight.
Bin first move is big. Zeus does have TP and he has Mini-Gnar stacked. Are they willing to commit Zeus's TP?
Looks like they don't want to. Instead, they'll just say, you know what, we'll concede the grubs. We'll give Zeus first access onto the tower. Bin was able to catch that wave in mid lane, but ultimately just a lot of time spent wandering around the map. But ultimately, it did pay off for BLG. But Zeus getting some good work done on this bot tower.
Definitely. Unlikely he'll be able to grab that last plate, at least on this wave, as Faker and Owner trying to defend on. Well placed, well positioned. Ulti from Skarner is about to be traded here. It looks like his T1 are being caught out by the curtain call. Lockup coming in from Owner, but he might just have to give his life. Flashing out to safety. Where's the last bullet going to go? One more shot from Elk. Will not finish the job. Quick kill pickup underway from T1 on the top side.
In a 3v3, it's T1 that come out ahead once more on not level 6, meaning he can't remove one of those T1 members from the equation. BLG don't have the damage. And it means the T1 find themselves another kill. Elk with the push, has the 4th shot, looking to get that tower plate, will secure it as resets start to come through. Meanwhile, Gumayusi, sitting in mid, takes the mid wave, actually rotates now down towards bots to try and help secure that tower. They're gonna secure it. Nice map movements there coming out from the T1 AD carry. As Elk spending a lot of time to push in this wave. Yeah, resetting makes a lot of sense.
And a bit frustrating, right? Because you just get that 4-grub buff. You would love to be able to get some pressure down on top side. But Faker and the rest of T1 in the area means the play kind of fizzles. Elk doesn't have any mana or any biscuits, so this is a little bit
This is crucial, because notice Zeus, the reason why this is crucial is Faker still has TP available to him, but notice Zeus already back out onto the map. He's been able to go back to base, spend that money. He can now go top, catch that wave. Gumayusi continues to push in mid. He can now reset, get his itemization, and now Jin's recall is delayed. So the rest of BLG are already back out on the map, while Elk needs to commit that reset.
And this means they're in a position to contest vision, to get pressure top, to get pressure mid, and start to set up for that Herald. They do not want to give this away when BLG have hit that 4-grub threshold. But on hovering, maybe hoping to catch Zeus out if he overcommits here. Malignus completed for Knight. Will make the ult more accessible, but not necessarily the biggest damage spike.
A lot of members hovering around the top side for BLG. Way there to cover once more.
Faker bot has the TP. Not sure how he fares in the 1v1 matchup, but with a completed item, he should be all right. Way looking to make the dive happen. Owner here as well. Bounce in from Zeus, trying to get away from the Skarner, knowing that CC is lethal. Impale is there, but the knockback is close. They push him away, but Zeus is still holding on. It's a 3v1, and Zeus is happy to take it. The power of Mega-Gnar keeping him standing. Beautiful from T1, and now here comes Keria. It looks like Faker. They're uncertain the charm going to hit. Now they realize it's the Nico.
I love your response there, because I'm like, Faker's coming, Faker's coming. Like, it's not Faker, it's Keria.
I'll be honest. Design team, I have one request. Please, for us, make it the correct picture. Because if that was Faker, people start dying, for sure. Keria does not have the engage range.
Oh, okay. So ultimately, nothing comes off the back of that. BLG, they tried to set up a dive onto Zeus. I love the idea with Knight there right behind them. I felt like that they would have enough damage, but the arrival of Ona really kind of ruined the play setup, bought enough time for Zeus to get the Mega-Gnar, and then he was able to make a mega play to buy enough time to force BLG to then disengage.
And when you burn those resources, you don't have enough left to take the fight. As Faker gets aggressive on the bottom side, not sure if they have enough here to make this happen. Poppy ult stolen away. T1, this is bold. They already got one objective. They want to go for two. They force the flash out from On. T1 pulling incredibly far ahead. That beautiful play on the top side has won them so much. Bin is just now getting that wave into top side, and Zeus here for the play and right back to top to defend. Now Faker TPing as well. They're nervous. They don't want to risk the dive. I think maybe a bit over-eager from the side of T1. But still, they get the Drake, they get the Herald, they get the kills on top side, or the play on top side. Beautiful stuff.
So T1 walk away with the second dragon of the game. The bot wave left completely unattended because once the TP had come through top, Faker, wanting to be a homie for his top laner, matched the TP and was ready to fight, ready to skirmish, had that Poppy ultimate stolen away to turn it into a 2 versus 1. Now though, because those TPs were invested from the mid laners, they've said, well, we've got to catch this wave now. So both of them stay in the top side of the map. Knight does have a bit of an experience lead, I think largely because Faker has been moving a lot around the map. As Zeus now makes his way towards bot lane, Bin with the TP advantage for now, but there's not really an objective for them, for BLG I should say, to find any real advantage with.
Nope, 4 minutes on both the Baron and the Cloud Drake. T1 obviously 2 Drakes thus far. BLG really not able to leverage the grub buff they secured earlier on. Won't matter too much, Knight taking over to level 11, but Faker not too far behind. First items completed. Just about across the board. I imagine Ben has it once he does get the opportunity to recall, but he has been out on the map for quite some time. So while T1 do have a meaningful gold lead and 2 Drakes, it's nothing insurmountable as Faker about to be caught out here. Pale going in, well-timed, well-positioned. Charm follow-up is there. Did you not want to give him the chance to steal away Knight's ultimate? Not sure about the individual cooldown. Taking his time on this one. Does he have the hijack? The answer is no. Faker going down. Taken out of the equation there. Great pick from BLG.
Nicely done by Knight and Wei. They were waiting for that flash to come through from Faker. Only then did Knight actually commit the ultimate. They were cautious of the fact that Faker could heal at any point, but he's got to get in range, and it was that they played around very well.
Knockback, using the clone to try to walk away here. Wait a bit more time. Aftershock already propped. That's one squishy Poppy now. Guma there quick to pick up the kill, but it's Elk who's in trouble. Zeus coming from behind as well. Elk's got nowhere to go. One more bullet, not enough to get the kill. But Bin and Wei are here as backup, and it might just be curtains for T1. Guma, the heal coming in. Carrier trying to body block as best he can, but Bin already grabbing another kill. Carrier now needs to get the hell out. Quick flash. Force shot will not connect. But BLG, excellent counterpunch in mid.
My goodness, BLG are locked in right now. The response from Bin leveraging his TP advantage to be able to find that flank and come in from behind. T1 do find that initial pick, but they get the response kill onto Gumayushi. The kills are equalized, but in terms of gold, T1 still find themselves with a lead.
And there's a reason the Bin Jax is scary. Yeah, he was put down early on. They might have had to sacrifice an objective to get him to an even state in this game, but this is a terrifying pick in his hands. We take a look back at this play, you can see the impact that he has.
So again, this play starts with, remember, the top lane already died. We turn our attention onto On, who then gets collapsed. Level 6 doesn't get a chance to use his ultimate, gets chain CC'd, the ultimate comes through from Carrier, and then they turn their attention onto Elk. It's at this point where they've overcommitted, but they don't realize that the TP has already come through. They're trying to set up this tower dive, but Carrier is very low HP. Gumayushi has to ult him, and then Guma has to flash because he knows that the counter-strike is there from Bin, meaning that he now has nowhere left to go. Nice collapse coming through from BLG to equalize the kill score.
In a difficult situation, I like the patience from T1 initially, waiting out the Aftershock, waiting out the Celestial opposition to make sure they can burst down On, but overcommitting a bit in terms of resources, and BLG starting to tie up the gold lead. Again, in League of Legends, gold can be a bit misleading. It's more about the item completions. But you can see Faker's still not a second item completed. Similar story for Guma. So in the coming fights, pretty even footing. Flashes, however, on the side of T1, down across the board really on key members other than Zeus, and Knight in a position where he can really take over a fight given that he has access to that flash. Faker maybe going to try and burn it now. He does steal the Ahri ultimate. Won't be able to get anything so far.
Just space trading. Clears out the wave, gets level 12. He is about a half a level behind Knight just because of that kill that Knight was able to find on the top side. Dragon spawning in 40 seconds. Faker wants to get his reset off. Knight should be able to push one more wave, and then he can either choose to base, maybe complete the Leandries, or make his way down. That's actually forcing Faker to stick around as Zeus finally catches that bot wave. Bin back out onto the map. Actually already grabbed himself the arm guard. Something that maybe T1 won't be expecting in the fight.
Recall now from Knight. Probably second item completion. Faker in a similar boat, both mid laners with TP. They do want to fight for this objective. You can see Elk and Guma showing on mid-wave. They want to try and get this one shoved in so they can have advantage on the objective.
Knight wants one more wave. That might be enough to get in the Leandries, but how much time is it going to cost them? He secures it. Faker's going to match for the time being.
Build used. TP bot lane. Gonna be matched here. Zeus getting lower and lower. Desperate to get the Mega. Faker gives him a bit more time to stack it up, but it might not be enough in the face of Knight. Flash is available. Can Charm Flash quite easily. Playing this one out a little bit slower. Jack's ulti stolen for a bit of extra resources, a bit extra resistances. Elk waiting off to the side. Curtain Call can come. Recall now from Zeus. T1 bullying, giving space for their top laner to recall and reset for the fight. He might need to use TP, but he'll be ready to go. Rage already stacked. Faker off, isolated.
The problem is, Knight does get the Leandries, but think about how much time he spent getting it. Because he stayed for that extra wave on top, he wasn't able to get the reset off. He wasn't able to replenish his HP or his mana. So once he then commits the TP bot lane to match the play from Faker, who had just gone back to base, he's now forced to reset, allowing T1 to guarantee themselves numbers advantage, especially given that Zeus was just allowed to back and had the TP available. They wisely concede the Dragon. But I guess you could argue that, like, a bit of a misplay there from Knight. You understand the logic. I only need one more wave from an item. If I get this item, I'm going to be really strong. We just have to stall. But then that play happens on the bot side of the map, and then it's just this cascading series of events, allowing T1 to put themselves on soul point.
It's a difficult position to be in. Every choice comes with a cost, and ultimately that one is going to cost them the Drake, right? Because Faker's TP does double value. It ensures they have bot lane prio. It ensures that they get the Drake. And now T1 are in soul point position. Knight has that second item. Ulti about to come off cooldown, still has the flash, but there's not a lot to fight for right now. Neither side going to be quick to start this Baron.
This top tower doing wonders for Knight right now. He's having so much freedom to just keep pushing out this wave. Faker's hesitant to push up, especially now that that fog of war has been created on the top side of the map. BLG doing a good job of keeping this vision pressure up. The top side of the river fully in their control. Faker now going to match the wave, and T1 have to respond to that pressure. They concede it. This mid tower is getting very low. 4 members strong in the mid lane. They should be able to secure this.
T1 holding on as best they can. Okay wave clear, but really just not enough to stop the pressure coming in here from the side of BLG. The threat of Faker on side, though. Does mean BLG will back off, likely to need one more wave. Bin feeling more confident in the 1v1. Zeus has flash, likely to be forced here. Flash out from Zeus. How long in the leap strike should you be able to finish the job? Goes golden! A freeze frame, baby, as he dunks the top laner of T1. Clean solo coming in for Bin.
A crucial solo kill as BLG secured the mid lane tower as well. I mean, Bin, you already saw how well he was doing in the 1v1 matchup, but the Jack's reaching a point where the Gnar just can't deal with him anymore, and he's going to continue to be a threat in the side lane.
And you got to respect the aggressive use of Seekers. So often just that defensive tool for team fights. Uses it to get to solo. Will get him that much closer if he does want to finish the Hourglass, to have repeated access to that stasis. So much of this game feels like it's going to come down to the team fight, so any edge you can find on a side lane, man advantage, kills, gold to get those item completions through is going to matter.
The problem for T1 now is they can't cross map. Bin is able to secure this bot tower completely uncontested, and notice as T1 is shifting their control to the top side of the map, BLG is there to match. They don't need to cross map or anything. They can actually just sit there and say, T1, try and take this tower in front of us. I dare you to, because if you do, Bin is just going to continue to push in bot. Obviously, he needs to get his reset off, does have gold to spend, but BLG now with a much firmer foot in this game. They've finally been able to equalize the gold.
We're going to need to see how well T1 can set up for objectives and find fights. Bin completing the Hourglass is big. Again, another access to stasis. We saw in the previous game, Aurora disrupted what T1 could do. It stopped them from leveraging so many of their team fighting strengths. There's no Aurora this time around, but with BLG getting stronger and stronger, if they absorb that initial blow, you saw in mid lane, if Elk is left standing, very easy for this lineup to start cleaning up on the counter engage.
I mean, if nothing else, I think it's fair to say that T1 definitely showcasing a stronger performance so far at Worlds than compared to what we saw them in the regional gauntlet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely much more of a return to form, but BLG are locked in after the upset against LNG. You can see their adaptations that they've made, making sure that they have comfort of their own, and they're finding success with it right now. Wei has found an angle.
Zeus in trouble once again. Faker can TP to try and save him, but it doesn't seem like the right call. Zeus sleeping out. Knockback for the Impale is so crucial. Now forcing the TP, immediately forcing the response, but the man advantage will be the side of BLG. Wall up there to initially break the fight. Impale to try to dissuade a little bit more, but now it's going to be Faker in trouble. Zeus getting lower. Bin finding the initial kill. Goes golden once again, buys a brief moment. Curtain call now coming out in the extended fight. It's BLG taking control. Carrier ready to disengage if they need it. Knight finding the angle. BLG with a beautiful play.
BLG set their sights on the Baron. A massive pickup onto both solo laners as BLG is quicker to collapse. They keep their pressure on the mid wave. The TP comes through from Bin. They set their sights on the Baron.
Pressure on Owner. Hell, pressure on Guma. He steals enough. Will they be able to stop this play? Keria cannot overstep. They don't have the damage to win a fight. The most they can hope for is a steal, but it's so difficult with On. It's so difficult with the pick tools that BLG can bring to bear. 8K getting lower. T1 are here, maybe just hoping for exit kills. Respawn from Zayas, he does have the TP, he will use it. 5K getting lower. Off on the side is the Poppy. On. Ulti, 15-second cooldown, looking to lock up Elk. Where's the follow-up gonna go? Keria trying to dissuade. Guma knocked back to the wall, the flash forward, gonna try to finish on the first AD Keria. Now he's on the hunt for Knight. Guma! Popping off in the clutch moment, but Bin ready to turn it right back. That's the ultimate. Counter-strike is there, but it's Bin versus all of T1, baby, and that is not enough.
In the 4 versus 5, T1 are able to turn the fight around. Incredible target selection from Ona to set up for the team to shut down the bot lane. Wei has an angle to steal.
Clone will spot him. 5K, is he willing to give his life? It'll put them behind on the Soul. He can't afford to die here. Zeus now chasing. Baron gonna fall, Keria getting lower. Oh, T1 securing the first Baron of the game, cementing the lead. Soul point as well. If BLG cannot take this Drake, they're going to be in dire straits.
But look at the target selection. You can see how T1 is kind of funneled into the blue buff area of BLG's jungle, but that then gives them avenue onto Knight and Elk. Knight doesn't have the ultimate available. Guma smartly flashes in to lock them down alongside Ona. And then with the backline gone, it's really all up to Bin to be able to clean up the fight. He does what he can, but at this point, they're at a numbers disadvantage. And while he does take down Guma, Zayas is able to find a double. And this was all while Faker wasn't even there. Excellent team fight from T1, gets them the Baron, and just like that, they flip the game once more.
And you see frustration on the face of Elk, right? When you're Jhin in that situation, it's so hard to do anything. You need space to work. You need space in the team fights. T1 now setting up for Soul Point. BLG happy to keep them here. The longer they keep T1 interested, even if they don't start the objective, the more of the Baron buff they are burning. But it looks like it might just be the flip.
Remember, you've got the Kalista as well.
Knockback from On will be big, trying to zone out. Gets the jungler out of the picture, they instantly get the objective. Can they take the fight? Faker now locked up, he's not even gonna have the chance to use the Poppy ult that he so graciously stole. Finally, we'll get it back, trying to burn it through, at least On. Carry off on the side, a massive ulti, but now Elk is ready to open up. The curtain's called, 1 shot, 2. Health bar's too high for him to do anything yet. They have to retreat, they have to get out. The lockup on the Keria is good. They're trying to take down Guma. Guma locked up for a brief moment, but Zayas is there to body block Elk. Just fast enough to get away, but there's too much CC. Now it is Knight. Can he make the difference? Last dash used, way likely to fall here. The chase down from Owner and Zayas. Top and jungle together, salvaging the fight. Flash forward from Zayas. They're not done. They want more. On trying to body block. Knight with the red buff. How many cooldowns has he got left? Owner locked up. On running, splitting their attention, but he will fall.
The Soul is denied from T1, but it's a massive team fight win once more. These team fights are absolutely crazy. They're an absolute nail biter. As we turn our attention once more, On with a huge ulti on to the jungle top combo. Faker then goes in. The chain CC is ruthless, but even then he gets the Poppy ultimate. He knocks him up, he gets On incredibly low, and BLG are turning their attention onto him. But on the cross map, on the other side of the fight, I should say, Bin gets locked down. He, just like Faker, doesn't really get an opportunity to impact the fight that much. Keria gets incredibly low. Guma gets CC'd, which means that Keria then drops. Knight sees an angle to shut down Guma Yushi. But then again, it's that top jungle combo to clean up the fight. They're not focused down. Their consistent damage is enough. I think Wei even messed up going through the wall at the very end there.
And a frustrating, such a close fight overall. Almost enough damage to kill Faker before he could get that Poppy ult, that extra burst. And you can see Knight, he's so damn powerful in those extended plays. But eventually he just runs out of resources. You only have so many dashes if you're not going to be able to find the kill.
I mean, he needs his dive buddy of Bin there with him, and Bin was just shut out. He tried to make the TP flank happen, but Zeus would not give him the space. Wow, crazy game. I really think a lot of credit needs to be given to Ona this game. His target selection has been on point in these fights. 2-1-8 scoreline. He's been involved in 10 of the team's 12 kills.
And you can see how close all of these fights are. I feel like if BLG just had a little bit more upfront burst damage, Wei playing team fights well, locking up Guma for moments, consistently forcing his cleanse out early. They have so much CC, but again, the damage not quite enough. So much sustain coming in from the Kalista, now armor as well.
Ona on track to securing the GA. Oh, he actually just got it.
GA Faker's now got Cosmic. It's going to be impossible to get away from him.
But it's really important to understand T1 is the LCK 4th seed, and they're that for a reason, right? For them to get a win here, even though it's just a best of one, in the context of the World Championship, when BLG are considered tournament favorites, alongside that of Gen G and HLE, for them to get a win here would be massive in terms of upsets.
I mean, to be in the 1-2 bracket for either of these organizations, whether it's current expectations or all-time expectations, it would have been unthinkable coming into this tournament 100%. Short of a truly disastrous draw for T1. Which has not been the case.
And I think so many T1 fans are happy to see this team reignited, playing at the
100%.
level that they're expected to play at. Obviously, as an organization and for these players, World Championship is where you often see them turn on. But normally it's that man in the mid lane who is struggling to have impact in this game as Knight continues to flourish on his Ahri, but the rest of his team is stepping up to help provide him the space to still be a threat in these fights.
Definitely. And again, really, across the board, T1 doing great in these fights. Credit to Zeus as well, who died in the solo bot play, has been found at solo kill, but has now rebuilt that gold lead in a decent position.
Now, BLG not out of this game just
at
yet.
all, no.
Bin now completed his 3rd major item, going to have a lot more damage off the back of that Wit's End. He's going to be that much more of a threat on the side lane, but really I feel like this game is going to come down to the team fights. Baron spawning in 45 seconds, the Dragon in about a minute, 3 items fully completed for Knight. The death cap as well is so much damage for this Ahri. Knight's target focus is going to be crucial. A single charm onto Gumayusi could be the game changer that BLG need.
Luckily for him, he has the cleanse. But it might not be enough, given the sheer amount of CC, the potential follow-up from Elk. We saw the bot side play where BLG were able to set up fine picks, leverage the range advantage they can have with the Ahri dash-in and charms, with the Jhin curtain call. But in the straight 5v5s, it's been T1 coming out on top. Maybe BLG can continue to find those picks. You highlighted it. Knight has to be the center of attention here with death cap completed. He needs to be doing the damage, he needs to be setting up the plays. It's a big burden to put on a single player in a game, but he has the tools to do so.
We take a second. Obviously both teams have just been farming for the last few minutes, but 5 seconds, the Dragon will be alive. It's Zeus that enters the river first, clearing out the control wards. Bot wave. Well, the mid wave is what's being contested right now. Owner quickly makes his way over on, maybe looking for a flank, but will be spotted out on the control ward. Has to be careful. I like what Bin's doing. Keep the pressure on bot lane. Keep that push in, give you a nice angle to potentially create a flank. Faker now joins the squad.
Steadfast presence down. Initial route on the way is big. Impale not hitting anybody. Way forced to flash out. Knockback is good from On. Knockback into the wall as well, but Faker now getting involved in the fight. No, the Steadfast presence up just in time. Bin on the backside trying to finish off Owner, but I don't think he's strong enough. Can go golden. GA, burn. But where's the rest of the damage? Where's the rest of the follow-up? It does not matter. T1 are just stronger in the 5v5.
BLG, it looked like that they were going to turn and fight. A great Poppy ultimate came through from On, but once Bin had TP'd in, he was committed to the fight. He had to go in.
Knight goes in, but no, Owner secures it. Cloud Soul to T1. I set on the Baron as well.
I mean, there's no reason not to. T1 must feel so strong right now. Ahri's just used the ultimate. Owner on cooldown, but it's going to be up relatively soon. They still have Fakers and Zeus' ulti ready to go.
And Observer's beautifully highlighting. They're going in blind. They'll just now see the health bar. Faker off on the side, looking to lock up Elk, forcing the flash. Protobelt flash forward from Carrier. The lockup is there. Elk's got nowhere left to go. They don't quite catch Knight. Knight now versus the world, but there is Faker to finish the job alongside Zeus. T1 dominating in this mid to late game.
The turn was so fast. BLG didn't see it coming. Faker came from one flank to then force the flash out from Elk, but the moment it was gone, Carrier struck. The team fighting from T1 coming online today as they're now looking to break the base.
T1 at Worlds just continue to impress. Team that seems to never disappoint. Once again, finding a way to topple the LPL champion. It's not done yet. BLG have an angle for a fight. On has ultimate in 10 seconds. Ooh. Great Impale. Bin in the midst of 3, but is it going to be enough? He just cannot finish the kills. On now getting knocked back. The Nor is there, and T1 will not be denied. T1 1-2-1. On can knock them away, but he cannot knock them out of this game. T1 take down BLG.
An incredible game with some fantastic team fights. Today will not be the day that T1's record is blemished. 1 loss to their name, and they will not concede another. Incredible.
And that's just the best of one. All right, AD, we had a great time with it.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that?
What I have to say is that I wish this was a series. Like, I want to have more games of this.
I mean, we might if BLG can now make it through the lower bracket. They're a 1-2 team. T1 at Worlds is just a different. It's a different beast entirely. It's not the same as what's in the LCK.
Oh my
Incredible.
God. Even just saying that one more time, just the fact that BLG are 1-2 and are fighting for their lives,
Yeah.
no one would have expected this at all.
And we've talked about what had been going wrong for T1 in the first games that they had in BLG as well, and I feel like